I wish Shane Murray had the same energy for the Clippers, for the Celtics. I
No, I
really would.
can't. No, I can't.
You guys are
Clippers don't.
all
Boston
packaged.
don't piss
You
me
guys
off
are
like the
all
Clippers
packaged.
do me.
You upset like you got all this energy for a team that has never won anything. It's
I don't
wild.
care. I got to see him all the time.
It's wild to me that you got energy for a team that's never won anything.
I
You're
got to
back.
see him all the time. And it's
You
it's
are
the political
back.
stuff and it's the basketball stuff.
You are backwards,
I
sir.
can't stand. I
I'm
can't.
not.
I don't know. I used to like the Clippers in the early 2000s.
I did
When
too.
they
Fuck.
were doing all of that and shit.
Hello, Lakers fans. This is Wilson. So what you just heard was a clip from about a year ago of the guys, you know, discussing basically, Mitch asking Shane, why doesn't he hate the why does he hate basically he hates the Clippers more than he hates the Celtics, right? And I decided to lead the show off with it because, of course, tonight the Lakers met with the Clippers for the first time this season. It's Sunday night as I'm recording. It's 8:51 p.m. And just about 20 minutes ago, the Lakers got done, losing to the Clippers at the Intuit Dome. The final score was 116 to 102 in favor of the Clippers. Um, Lakers came into the game at 22 and 17. The Clippers were 23 and 17. And so the Lakers were in sixth place and they had a chance to actually jump the Clippers and move into fifth. But that didn't happen because the Clippers took care of business. And so now the Lakers stand at 22 and 18, still in sixth place. The Clippers still in fifth place at 24 and 17. LeBron had 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists. AD had a quiet night after missing the Brooklyn game. He had 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Austin had 14 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists, and only took 6 shots in 34 minutes, so that was strange. Dorian Finney-Smith came off the bench, didn't score in 23 minutes. Shake Milton, another DNP coach's decision. And, so there's that. Of course, I'm going to keep bringing those guys up because obviously the trade that happened a few weeks ago, sending D'Lo to the Nets for those guys, which I've already talked about on the show a couple times. And I've said, and I'll continue to say, I think that the Lakers basically, post trade, they don't have enough around LeBron, Austin, AD anymore. D'Lo was that fourth option, that wild card even coming off the bench, and now they just don't have that. So if Shake's not playing in DFS, what he brings is, basically a 3-and-D guy. But if he's not making threes, you know, where, I appreciate what he may bring defensively, but where's the offense, right? Um, for the Clippers, Kawhi, uh, James Harden, Norman Powell, and Ivica Zubac, they all finished with 19 or better. And when I look at these two teams on paper, I just I think to myself, um, well, on paper the Lakers, even like I said with the 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 I feel like they're been depleted. The trade depleted them, right? But this Clippers team, they lost Paul George. Now, I was looking like that was a savvy move, but they didn't exactly replace him. Norman Powell has stepped up, and they got Kevin Porter Jr. And they're coming off the bench. Um, so I look on paper and think that the Lakers should probably be better than the Clippers, but tonight they weren't. But I guess like I said, the top heaviness of this Lakers roster is it's Bron, AD, and Austin, and then not much else after that, if we're being honest, right? So whereas the Clippers are probably still, they're a little bit more well-rounded and have a few more guys who can come in, as viable players and hurt you. So I mentioned that their top four: Zoo, James, Kawhi, who's we're still kind of working himself back into shape, and Norman Powell. Then you have guys like Derek Jones, those guys, like I said, Porter Jr., Amir Coffey, Chris. I don't know, bro. Honestly, like I said, Lakers should be better than the Clippers. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But I figured this Lakers team will, to continue to do what they've, been doing, which is, will win 4 in a row, lose 3 in a row, win 2, lose 1 or lose 2 or whatever it is. And I think they'll just do that, for the rest of the season now. So it's 2 years ago they finished 43-39. Last year they were 47-35. They'll probably be right back in that range this year. They were in the play-in the last 2 years, right? And this year I'm guessing, like I said, right now they're 6th, but Dallas at some point they'll get Luka back, right? And they'll probably end up overtaking the Lakers for that, for that top 6 seed. Anybody else there, OKC obviously at the top, Houston, Memphis, Denver, they're not falling back, right? So Lakers will probably be in the play-in again, and it'll be the same old. And I think I've seen it posited that basically the Lakers are basically going to wait until after LeBron retires to really try to start like winning again. And that's what it's looking like. And the other thought that I had watching this game was that at one point I think the Lakers had a chance to hire Ty Lue, and instead they hired Frank Vogel, right? And you look back on that now, and was it Frank Vogel or was it Darvin Ham? One of those guys that they had a chance to hire, and they didn't. So, Ty Lue can sure coach, but it's something about the way the Clippers are run. I guess because even Doc Rivers, if you remember, Doc at the end there of his Clippers, so basically after CP3 and after Blake Griffin, the Clippers were still like a competitive team for at least 1 year there before they, I guess that would be, when did Chris Bush, I don't have the year straight. Did Chris leave? What was that? Yeah, I guess that was 20, Chris Paul, 2017 was Chris Paul's last year there. And then it was, and then they kept Blake, and they traded Blake, like right away at the start of the next year, like as soon as they could, after re-signing him. But they stayed competitive with Doc there. And as you've seen, Ty Lue, like I said, Kawhi is just now, still playing himself back into shape. This is probably the best game he's had since he's been, been back. And but they're just competitive no matter what. Ty Lue's just like I said, he's just a hell of a coach. JJ, obviously, he's just in his first year. Maybe one day he can be as good of a coach as Ty Lue. But the point is that if you look at it, if JJ's on the Clippers sideline tonight and Ty Lue is on the Lakers sideline, my guess is that we would have seen a different outcome. So, yeah, there's that. Now, moving on. So this week earlier, Michael Cooper got his jersey put up there in the rafters with all the other Laker greats. Now, of course, the Lakers only retire the jerseys of Hall of Famers, right? And Coop made the Hall of Fame this past year, so he got his jersey up there. Michael Cooper, I would say, probably the first pure role player to make the Hall of Fame. I don't really think, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think role players should be in the Hall of Fame. But he's in there, and I'm happy for him because he's a Laker legend. And with him getting his jersey retirement, it gave me the idea I wanted to make a list of the top 10 role players in Lakers history, right? And so, this list was kind of, it was hard to get to 10. Lakers are known, of course, for having superstars and the greatest players that have ever played the game. And so it wasn't easy getting to 10. I may have had to kind of reach for a few of these guys, but here's the 10 that I came up with, right? So in order, going from 10 to 1. At number 10, I have Alex Caruso, right? Now, Caruso is a guy who played for the Lakers from 2018 to 2021. The same thing that he's doing for OKC this year. OKC's 35-7. That's what he did for the Lakers in 2020 when they won the championship. Meaning, his impact is, the box score doesn't do it justice, right? He's the type of guy who is getting deflections, playing defense, just kind of flying around, and causing chaos for the opposing team. That's what Alex Caruso brings to a basketball team. And so I've always had just the utmost respect for him. Like I said, now only one championship with the Lakers, and really his position on this list is kind of symbolic, and also the fact that like I said, it was hard to get to 10. Really, I should mention the honorable mentions. So there's certain guys who are on this list who they were basically, a couple guys on this list who were borderline too good to be considered role players, right? And so there's a few guys that I didn't put on the list because they were basically too good to. So like Bob McAdoo, right? Bob McAdoo's a Hall of Famer. He won an MVP. For the Lakers, he was a role player, right? But the Lakers, he was a role player, but he's too good of a player for me to put on any list of role players, right? This guy's a Hall of Famer, right? Same thing goes for Lamar Odom, right? Lamar Odom wasn't a role player. He was just a hell of a player, just a really good player, Even though he was never an all-star, Lamar Odom was fantastic, and he did things on the court. He's one of those guys that you always looking at, man, like Lamar Odom should be he should average 22 and 12 every year. But he didn't really have, that wasn't his, his mentality or his personality. He was a very selfless player. But, 6'10", left-handed, played 4 positions. He could do everything out there. And he was just so selfless and so great for us. But, Lamar Odom was too good to be. He wasn't a role player. He was just an outstanding player. Same thing goes for Byron Scott. If anybody thinks that, even thought that Byron Scott might show up on this list, Byron Scott was just a fantastic player. And one of my favorite bit of Lakers trivia is that Byron Scott was the leading scorer on the 88 team. Right? Not Magic, not Kareem, not James, Byron. And then you have guys like Ron Harper, who was an outstanding player early in his career with Cleveland and the Clippers. and then he got hurt, and then he went to the Bulls, and when he went to the Bulls, he changed his game, and he became a role player, and basically the same role he played with the Bulls is the role that he ended up playing with the Lakers. Obviously, when Phil got here, that's one of the first things he did. He said, I need Ron Harper, do the offense, do the triangle, be a veteran, be in Kobe's ear when Kobe was young, 21 years old. And, also we won 2 championships with Harper. The first one was the one where he was the starting point guard and he hit the big shot he hit a big shot. I think it was game 4 against Portland. Was it game? I think that would have been that was game 3. But I didn't put him on the list because basically, like I said, it was the first championship was really the only one where he was like a real contributor. But the second one, for like half the year, and then he got hurt. He was like 37, and then in the playoffs, he didn't, he barely got any burn. And it was Steve Fisher's spot by then, the starting point guard spot. After D Fish came off the bench the previous year, and then a guy like Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza was a hell of a role player throughout his career. We acquired him halfway during the 2008 season, and he went on to help us. He we saw signs of what was going to come in 2008 in the finals. I think it was when we lost to Boston. We kind of said, okay, this is the guy who he'd been hurt and he came back and he made a mark even though we lost to Boston. And the next year, of course, he was a starting small forward as we won Kobe's 4th championship. But then he left after that, and Ron Artest took his spot, replaced him with Ron Artest, and we went back to back. But Trevor, I don't think we would have won in 2010 with Ariza because Paul Pierce was I think Pierce would have been too strong and too physical for him. But Ron was able to play Pierce a lot. Ron's a lot sturdier, obviously physically. Ariza was tall and lanky. Ron was Ron's a big burly guy. And that could have, when the series that was that close, obviously we won by 4 points in Game 7. That could have been the difference in the series, right there. So, but yeah, shout out to Trevor Ariza, an LA guy. And then a guy like, Mike McGee. Mike McGee won a couple titles with us. In 82 and 85, I think it was. But, I want to give my respects to him, but he didn't quite make it. So, but I already started the list, like I said, number 10, Alex Caruso. I said my piece on Caruso. Everybody can see that, OKC will probably be in the right now. I don't know. I still believe in Boston. I know Big Mitch would hate to hear that, but I still believe in Boston. I think they'll get it figured out. See, winning that the second championship is always. Getting that first one is hard, but especially when you're trying to go back to back. When you're trying to go back to back, there's really nobody. Like even the 2001 Lakers. Who we went 15-1 through the playoffs, but the regular season was you remember that was the year where Shaq and Kobe first really just had it out publicly, and we pulled it together at the end. They went on this crazy run, but that second one you have there's ups and downs and peaks and valleys, and now you're the 100 instead of the 100 and stuff like that. So it's hard to do, but I still believe in Boston, but. OKC, the way they're playing, if they won the championship, I don't think anybody would be surprised. Chet broke his pelvis, and he's still a little bit ways away from coming back. But Hardenstein's been in there doing, what he does, and when Chet comes back, they're just going to be definitely going to be probably too much for anybody in the West. And then if they make the finals, we'll see what happens. But that would be Alex Caruso's second championship. But obviously that's a long ways away. But Caruso, I have him at number 10. And number 9, I have Keith Erickson, the UCLA product. Now, Keith Erickson played for the Lakers from 1969 to 1973. So he made 4 NBA finals with the Lakers. Keith Erickson. And that would be 69 against Boston. That was a loss. 70 against the Knicks. That was also a loss. In 71, we lost in the conference finals to Milwaukee with Lou Alcindor. But then in 72, that was, the one championship, the first LA championship, with Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Gail Goodrich. You had Elgin Baylor retiring early in the season. But that was, of course, one of the greatest teams of all time. Went 69-13 and won 33 straight games. And then in 73, we made the finals again, but we lost to the Knicks. So, but yeah, shout out to Keith Erickson. I have him at number 9. At number 8, I have Brian Shaw. B. Shaw played for the Lakers from 2000 to 2003. So he was a member of the three-peat world champions. I remember, I think it was either during the 02 season or 03 season, the Lakers were basically they had to release B. Shaw like temporarily. They signed him back like a couple days later, but it was a cap thing, right? It was a money thing. And they released him and then they re-signed him. I guess they had to re-sign him at a pay cut or something. So they were doing it for cap purposes. And I remember Shaq saying, man, when they released, like if he doesn't bounce right back with us, I'm not going to be very happy, because if it weren't for B. Shaw, this thing wouldn't even gotten started. The ball wouldn't have gotten rolling. Of course, Shaq was referring to Game 7 against Portland in 2000 when B. Shaw came in that third and fourth quarter, hitting those threes to spark the rally. The greatest, fourth quarter comeback in the history of the playoffs, I guess. And so, Brian Shaw is a true Laker, man. Brian Shaw is one of those guys who, don't be surprised. We'll probably see Brian Shaw in the Lakers building again before it's all said and done. He played for us and he went. He was an assistant coach on the last two Kobe championship teams. So Brian Shaw is a true Laker, like Kurt Rambis, somebody like that. So shout out to B. Shaw. Now I just mentioned Kurt Rambis. I have him at number 7. Rambo played for the Lakers from 82 to 88, and then again in 93 and 94. The heart and soul of Showtime. Now, I thought about having Kurt as high as number 3 on this list, but at the end of the day, he won 4 championships with us, but let's face it, the guys that have ahead of him were better players. So Kurt was, a hard-nosed player who, went on to, Kurt was with us, you were, expected, 5 points, 6, 7 rebounds at, best, something like that. After he left and he went to Charlotte, but Charlotte was they were an expansion team, and he had a couple of years where he averaged he averaged 11 points a game and 89 for them. But Kurt was really just like a hard-nosed, like hard-working player. So I thought about having him as high as 3 because what he meant to Showtime. Like I said, he was a heart and soul. But I didn't want to put him over guys who were better players. But shout out to Rambo, though, always. Superman. At number 7, I have Kurt's, one of his Showtime teammates, Michael Thompson. Michael Thompson came over to the Lakers during the 1986-87 season. The Lakers had lost to the Rockets the previous season when the Rockets had Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon, like one of the first the first Twin Tower duo. And we came back the next year, we were like, man, we need another big man. And, the Rockets, Sampson with the injuries, they never reached that level again with Sampson and Hakeem together. But we needed another big man. And we went and we got Michael from the Spurs. And, of course, we went on to, win back-to-back championships in 87 and 88. And in 89, we made the finals again. In 1990, that was Pat Riley's last year. the Suns beat us, but then in '91 we made the finals again. So Michael, played on 4 finals teams for the Lakers, and won 2 championships in 4 years. He was just a perfect complement to Kareem when Kareem, was at the end of his career and couldn't carry the load down there anymore. And Michael came in and he, was just exactly what we needed. With his post defense, being able to score around the basket, it was. That's one of the greatest in-season additions, other than Pau Gasol, probably the second greatest in-season addition in Lakers history, in-season trade. So shout out Michael Thompson, who's still pretty sure. Does Michael still? I think he does Lakers on the radio, right? Still. Shout out to Michael, obviously Clay's dad. At number 6. I'm sorry, number. Hold on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. At number 5, I have Rick Fox. Rick Fox, my personal favorite of the great triumvirate. So like the Lakers, like I said, the Lakers, the three-peat Lakers, you think of Brian Shaw, Ron Harper, but the 3 main core guys, minutes-wise and impact-wise across all 3 championships, that was Rick Fox, Robert Horry, and Derek Fisher. Fisher, before I continue, I want to say something about Michael Thompson. Michael Thompson, another guy he was a hell of a player in Portland, right? And then he ended up being a role player, more so for us. But I wanted to note that, Michael Thompson was a hell of a player. When he was the first pick in the draft out of Minnesota. He played in Minnesota with Kevin McHale, and was the number 1 pick in the draft. But for us, he was a role player. But he was a heck of a player in Portland, where he was drafted. But yeah, back to Foxy. Rick Fox, like I said, he was my personal favorite of those role players. He didn't get as much, maybe acclaim or shine as, Fisher or Horry, because they hit the big shots and stuff like that. But, what Foxy brought, I always remember Phil Jackson in his book. Was it Phil's book or was it? I guess it was Phil's book. Saying that, he always Foxy always played inside himself. Like he knew exactly what he was, and he didn't try to play outside of that. And Phil loved Foxy. In 2000, Foxy came off the bench. He came over in '97 from Boston, so he played 8 years with the Lakers total. Made the finals 4 times. Obviously, three-peated with us. And then after it was all over, when the dynasty was being broken up, they trade Shaq, let Phil walk, let D Fish walk, and everything's being now recentered around Kobe. They trade Foxy back to Boston, and Foxy retired. Foxy, forget that. His guy was a Laker. He was, Foxy was in it to win championships. He wasn't going to go back to Boston, a rebuilding Boston team. So, but Foxy, what he brought was, defense, smart plays. Like I said, played within himself. He was a tough guy, right there. You think Rick Fox is this, good-looking guy all the women like. And Foxy was the so-called enforcer on that Lakers team. If somebody needed to get tough, it would be Foxy who would get tough. And he was just fantastic, man. I love that guy. So I have him at number 5, right? At number 4, I have Robert Horry. Robert Horry, probably the greatest role player in NBA history. Someone who, another guy who, like Robert Horry as a post defender, he was an undersized power forward, but I won't speak for when he was in Houston. He may have been a little bit more with 3 in Houston. With the Lakers, he played power forward. Even though he was undersized and held his own, you know, obviously I don't think there's anybody in NBA history with more clutch threes than Robert Horry. Not in the Hall of Fame yet, but a lot of people think that he will be in the Hall of Fame one day. Like, 'cause I don't think role players should be in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not mad when any Laker legend makes the Hall of Fame. So, 1-2 in Houston, then 1-3 in a row with us. Obviously, his biggest shot was his shot against Sacramento in Game 4. If you remember the song "Robert Horry Saves the Day," I forget who the band was or the artist who made that song, but that was a classic. And then, of course, he won 2 more with San Antonio, hit the big shot in Game 5 against Detroit. So, this is a guy who swung, a couple championships in the favor of the team he was playing for. And he, like I said, he was more than just the big shots, man. The guy, we used to use him to break the press. I remember in 2001, Philly would put on their full court press, and Phil went to Rob. He went to Horry to break the press. He had Horry bring the ball up. So, he could do a few different things. And what was I thinking? Like I said, that game 6. I'm sorry, that game 4 against Sacramento, he had 18 and 12, I think. And then in the game 7 against Sacramento, I think he had 16 and 12, if I recall. I don't remember the exact figures right now, but and then that game 7 against no, it wasn't game 7. It was game 5, was it? I think was it game 5. I think he had 21, and I think it was 18 in the fourth quarter in overtime of that game 5 against Detroit. So it's the little things like that get lost because everybody just remembers all the big shots. But I mean, he do more than that. He do whatever it took. If he needed to step up and get you 18, 20 points, he would. Even though it was normally like somebody get you 5, 6, 7 points a game, but he'd give you what you needed. So shout out to Big Shot Bob. Right. Number 3, I have AC Green. Now, AC Green is another one of these guys who was darn near too good of a player to even be on a list of role players. But really AC was like a 12 points, 11, 8, 11, 10, 11, 12 points, 8 rebounds type of guy in his prime. Kind of like what Horace Grant was, Horace Grant obviously won with us in 2001 and came back in 2004 and when we lost to Detroit. Of course, he won 3 in a row. The first repeat was Chicago. And Horace Grant's one of those guys who, I like to think of Horace Grant as a role player, but he was damn there. I mean, Horace Grant was a heck of a player, So AC is almost in that. I think Horace was a better player than AC was, but AC is almost in that category. And he played for the Lakers from '86 to '93. Then again in 2000, obviously he was a better player than during the Showtime years. He won 2 then, and then he came back and won that last one with us in 2000. And AC is AC, man. He's a Laker legend, and shout out to that guy. Now, at number 2, I have the great Derek Fisher. D-Fish. Drafted, obviously, the same year as Kobe in 1996. He played for us from 97 through 2004, and then again from 2008 through, I think we traded him right at the start of the 2012 season. So when we let Phil walk, we didn't let him walk, but Phil retired after the 11th season, and the Lakers were like, okay, it's time to break up this core group of guys. And remember, at first they tried to trade Powell and Lamar for Chris Paul, right? And then that was a trade that got vetoed, right? And Lamar just couldn't deal with the Lakers trying to trade him after what he had just, he gave the Lakers his blood, sweat, and tears, right? And I was so mad at the Lakers when they tried that trade, and then because they turned around and traded Fish right after that to OKC, right? And Fish made the finals with OKC. So in total, Fish made 8 finals, but 7 of them were with us. Obviously, he won 5 championships. All the big shots that he made, in his career. Obviously 0.4 shots, but like I legit, and I'm telling you, bro, I've said this before, I do not remember Derek Fisher ever missing a shot that the Lakers really ever that the Lakers, and I watched his whole career with the Lakers. I don't remember. And obviously he did, right? But I don't remember Derek Fisher ever missing a shot that the Lakers really needed. Ever. I don't ever remember Derek Fisher. He had that, you can picture that 6'1", that high arcing 3-point shot that he had. I don't ever remember him missing one of those when the Lakers really needed it. Ever. I don't. I mean, and just one of those guys, like I said, man, a true Laker, a Laker legend. Now he does TV for the Lakers, I think, with, be up there with James. It's like Byron will be up there. So he's one of those guys that he'll always have a home with the Lakers in some capacity. Love Derek Fisher, man. And then, last but not least, obviously number 1 is Michael Cooper, the person who inspired this list. 5-time champion, 8 times all defense, 5 times on the first team, defensive player of the year in 1987, and the newly minted Hall of Famer. And like I said, he just got his jersey placed up there in the rafters next to all the other Laker greats. One of the most popular Lakers of all time, and just a beloved, member of the Lakers family. I love that. 2 things about his jersey retirement. I love that Pat was there. And obviously, Pat is going to get his. It was announced last year that Pat's going to get a statue outside of Staples, which is of course, well deserved. As Jerry Buss said in which book was that? I think it was the book that Mark Heisler wrote on the Lakers, Mad Men's Ball. And he said that Dr. Buss said that there are 3 people who I feel have turned the Lakers, helped transform the Lakers from a basketball team to the NBA team or basketball team. And he said one is Magic Johnson, the other is Kareem. I'm sorry. He said there are a few people who have helped transform the Lakers from a basketball franchise to the basketball franchise, and I've tried to reward them or say thank you to them in monetary terms. And he says, I know Magic understands that, I know Kareem understands that, and I think Pat Riley understands that. So that was out of Dr. Buss's own mouth, that he thinks that, he basically placed Pat Riley up there with Magic and Kareem as one of the 3 people who helped make the Lakers the basketball franchise. And it would be impossible to disagree with that. I mean, Pat Riley is the face of Showtime almost as much as Magic, So I was glad to see him there and that he's getting his statue. And then also, on top of that, I was glad to see Vadi there. Vadi was there. Respected Vadi. Vadi is like, Vadi was a true Laker, and he played with Cooper, and he only played with Cooper in 1 year because Vadi was a rookie in 90, and then Cooper retired after the 90 season. But, Vadi was like the link between Showtime and the Shaq and Kobe years. So Vadi played for Pat in 90, played with Magic in 90 and 91, played with Byron and James and those guys for a few years, even after a couple years after Magic retired, and then went and those lean years. He, Nick, and Eddie, they were the face of the franchise until we got Shaq and Kobe. And it's unfortunate that, we had to sacrifice Vlade basically in order to get Kobe. But if it weren't for that, we had 5 championships with Kobe. So he's the one guy in Lakers history that I would say kind of got the short end of the stick, if you would. But I was glad to see him there because to me, Vlade is a true. Obviously, the Sacramento years are like, it was kind of like bad blood because of his history here and him getting traded. So it was kind of personal. But it's always great when he comes back around. He played his last year here, and everybody loves being a Laker, and I love Vlade. I think he's a true Laker. So, but yeah, man, shout out to that and shout out to Coop. Now let me see here. So that's that. Now, I'll just say quickly here, in the NFL, we had the this weekend we had the yesterday we had the Chiefs beating the Texans and the Commanders beating the Lions in the NFL playoffs, and then today we had the Eagles beating the Rams and the Bills outlasting the Ravens in Buffalo. So in the conference championship game next week, championship games, it'll be the Chiefs hosting the Bills and the Eagles hosting the Commanders. And the Rams, I wouldn't have thought the Rams would have played as well as they did. They gave it a good go today. The Eagles, I remember having a thought at some point that the Eagles might make the Super Bowl. It was like a few weeks ago, but I didn't say it out loud. I don't think. I may have. And I think if you look at this. I mean, the Commanders have a rookie quarterback. Has a rookie quarterback ever made the Super Bowl? Right? So the Eagles, if they're, come on now, Eagles, go ahead and I think they went 13-4. Now Washington went 12-5, but and they beat the Eagles last, but that was like Kenny Pickett and like some weird stuff happening, right? So Eagles, go out there, take care of your business. Saquon Barkley had another 205 yards today. So his dream season continues, and man, I think the Eagles are going to be back in the Super Bowl. Now, as far as Chiefs Bills, right? See, the thing about the Chiefs is that there is nothing about them. This is not the same team when they had Tyreek, right? That's what they were like. Remember when they played when they played Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, people can say now, well, like Lomani says, when I saw that, right when the game was about to start, he said he looked at the graph with the screen showing their offensive line. He said, "Oh, this is going to be trouble," right? I think Tony Romo was the other guy who knew that it was going to be trouble because they weren't going to be able to protect Mahomes, and that's what happened. And when they had Tyreek, that's when they were really, when they had Tyreek, they had the Honey Badger, that's when they were like star-studded and stacked, right? The teams that they've won these last 2 Super Bowls with, those haven't been the same teams, right? It's Mahomes and it's Kelsey and it's Chris Jones and it's Andy Reid and it's Spagnuolo, and they just make it work, And they went 15-2 this year, but even at 15-2, everybody's watching and going, well, this can't possibly continue. But it's still going, and now they get to host the Bills in the AFC Championship. Now, the Bills are not the same team on paper that they were when they had Stephon Diggs, but here they are, right? And I don't know. I can't really. I just don't know. It's like who's gonna stop this Chiefs team? They're 2 games away now from a three-peat. And I don't know if the Chiefs have beaten better teams during this run than this Bills team. And, if they have to play either the Eagles or the Commanders, like, they already beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And I think the Eagles were better. The Eagles were better. Were the Eagles better I think the Eagles were probably better 2 years ago. Even with Saquon, that just makes them, even more dominant as a running team. But, I just don't know if they, let's say the Chiefs win they beat the Bills and they face the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Like, are the Chiefs gonna? And I know Jalen played. I think Jalen threw for like 300 yards when he played the Super Bowl. But it's like, like what Sam Darnold did this year, right? And he has Justin and Addison. It's like, I'm talking about someone just standing back in the pocket and just picking defenses apart. That's never been Jalen Hurts' game, you know. Like, Jalen Hurts is not even in the same. Like, everybody thinks of Lamar Jackson running and getting all these rushing yards. Jalen Hurts is not half the passer that Lamar Jackson is, So, are the Chiefs? If the Chiefs make it at the Super Bowl again, and all this standing between them is, this is it's a good Eagles team, but they have a quarterback who cannot. If you have a quarterback, it's a quarterback position, obviously. It's about being able to pass the ball. So if you have a quarterback and you go, well, he can't, right? And it has something to do with throwing the ball. How is that team going to beat the Chiefs? If they have a quarterback where you say, well, he can't do this, or his weakness is throwing the ball. Like Bomani says, that every team that Jalen Hurts has been on since at least college, maybe even high school, has been limited by his limitations as a passer. Right? Now, of course, I'm jumping ahead. They have to beat the Bills first. And hell, maybe the Eagles will lose to the Commanders. I don't see that happening. The only reason I don't see that happening is just because, like I said, Jay Nelson's a rookie. When has a rookie ever made the Super Bowl? He's outstanding. But if the Eagles are worth anything, they'll stop the rookie quarterback from making the Super Bowl, right? But then if the Chiefs beat the Bills, are the Eagles going to be the people who stop the Chiefs? The Chiefs are greater than the sum of their parts, and they recognize in real time what they're playing for and what their goal is. So it's like it's amazing. I've never seen a team that had all the It's like you could tell us everybody who the coaching staff and all of these three players on the same team are aware of the goal, and they all have a sense of the moment. It's really amazing to watch, and they just keep winning, man. I just don't know. It's like, is this Bills team they have Shakir and they have Amari Cooper. This is not the same Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is not. I would say Amari Cooper is never he's been a good receiver, very good even, but he's never been as good as Stephon Diggs. Like I said, Stephon Diggs is not there anymore. So, how are they going to beat? Is that the team that's going to stop the Chiefs from making another Super Bowl and win another Super Bowl? I don't know. It's in Kansas City. The Chiefs might be about to three-peat, man. It would be amazing. I never thought I would see that. Just like I never thought I would see a team go 16-0. The Patriots did it, but they lost in the Super Bowl. And I guess history is the only thing that can beat the Chiefs. I guess that the fact that nobody has won 3 straight Super Bowls, there's a reason that's never happened. That's just because it's too damn hard and it's too unlikely. So I guess that's why I'll say, because I don't see it. I think if they make the Super Bowl, they're going to win it. It's more likely they'll lose to the Bills than it is if they lose to the Eagles or the Commanders. So I'm going to go ahead, man, and I'm going to pick the Bills to beat the Chiefs next week. I just kind of did a sharp turn on that, a complete 180. But it occurred to me just as I was thinking of it, basically that's what the history that the Chiefs are playing against is history, And history, no team has won 3 straight Super Bowls, so I'm going to side with however many years the NFL has been around, over 100 years. That's why I'm going to side with history. I think history is going to beat the Chiefs. And like I said, I don't think they would lose to the Eagles or the Commanders. It's more likely they would lose to the Bills. So I say the Bills beat the Chiefs next week. I say the Eagles beat the Commanders, and I think we have a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl. Is that all? Trump gets inaugurated tomorrow for the second time. There's been a lot of stuff about the TikTok ban, but it seems that TikTok, the ban has already been lifted, and people are saying that, I think, because I guess Trump was the first person to say that it needs to be banned. I don't know. I can't say if that's true or not. But the ban happened, and then Trump was saying that even the little TikTok thing that everybody's been sharing, a little pop-up that says, thankfully, President Trump has been saying that, said that he'd be willing to work with us on a resolution, when he gets back in office, and that happens tomorrow. So people were saying that it was like the ultimate PR stuff for Trump to, basically set in motion the ban, and then turn around and lift the ban when he's, obviously everybody's like upset, or all the people who use TikTok are upset, right? But they said that I think it seemed like the ban only lasted for 14 hours in the first place. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, hopefully Trump has a great second term. Obviously I'm a Trump man. I'm a Trump supporter. So hopefully things work out great in his second term. And I guess on that note, obviously, yeah, also tomorrow's the national championship game between Ohio State and Notre Dame, and I think that I don't really care. I said that this Notre Dame team, when they beat USC, I said this is the best Notre Dame team that I've seen since Charlie Weiss's first 2 years there, in 05 and 06. Now they still don't do much on the way of throwing the ball, but with the quarterback Leonard, Riley Leonard, what he brings is running and just his command of things, and then the running back Jeremiah Love, what he brings. This is a different team than the teams that Brian Kelly had that would maybe like get there, like when they had Manti Te'o, or make the playoffs and then just get smacked. This is different. Now this Ohio State team, obviously they're looking to win the first Ryan Day's first national championship at Ohio State, the first of his career. My guess is that they'll do it, but I will say that Notre Dame is more of a live underdog than they've been in these other instances where they've been in the playoff and stuff like that, or been in the national championship game, like when they lost to Alabama. So we'll see what happens. For me, college football is not the same. I think NIL is ruining things. I think the transfer portal is ruining things. When I was coming up, the game was still pure, and it was, you didn't have. I mean, and I understand why Nick Saban got out while he did. I understand why, Gus Malzahn, I think he was the head coach at UCF, and then he basically resigned to go be the offensive coordinator at Florida State. Why Chip Kelly resigned at USC to go be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. And I think it's because it's been said. I think Nick Saban said, they have no rules now. There's no more rules in college football. It's just it's like the Wild West. When I was coming up, I don't even know if you could transfer more than once. Obviously, all I knew was that if you transferred, you had to sit out a year. That's how it was as I knew it. And now you can transfer as many times as you want, and you don't have to sit out a year, so you can just go from 1 year to the next and play. You can play for 4 or 5 different teams, and then you can get like an exemption to play a 6th year or something like that. It's crazy, and to me it's just ruined. And then NIL only makes it worse, you know. And you know, to me, it's just it's ruined the essence of college football. You know, um, Michael Weinreb in his book Season of Saturdays, he wrote about it. And he predicted, you know, that was like sort of been 10 years ago. There's an excerpt on Grantland called "The Ballad of Reggie Bush," and Weinreb, he talked about it. He talked about, obviously what's happening now with NIL. We all knew that it was coming even back then. And he said that, you know, the fear was that it would ruin the fundamental, you know, nature of college football, and that's exactly what it's done. Like you said, you know, nobody watches college football to see the NFL. Like the NFL and college football are supposed to be two different products with two different appeals, you know. So I watch college football for one thing and the NFL for another thing. I don't want to watch college football and feel like I'm watching the NFL. Even something like a 12-team playoff. Like I was okay with the 4-team playoff, but 12 teams is crazy. That's crazy, bro. A month of college football playoffs, it's not the NFL. Who wants to watch that? You know? I don't know. To me, the game is just it's just not the same, and everything is just watered down and not like it was when I was a kid or even when I was a young adult. It's like everything just gets worse all the time, you know, and it just it sucks, man. So I'm not gonna hold you guys any longer now. Just you know, gave my piece on that, and on that note, enjoy the national final tomorrow and enjoy the Trump inauguration. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Good night.